What up, YouTube? All right, it's time to actually get into some charting. It's time to look at Bitcoin and the history and the price action and try to make heads or tails of this. Now, what I'm going to try to do is attempt to come at this in the same way that I mentally did years ago to explain where I came from so that you understand where we are today and how I look at things today. So pay attention. So what I'm showing is known as the BLX. So again, this is another symbol. You can just type in BLX and there it is right there, the Brave New Coin Liquid Index. Now what this is it's basically the global average of the Bitcoin prices throughout history. You can see this goes back to 2011. Now, since different exchanges have different volumes and some come and some go and on and on and on, what these guys have attempted to do is say, look, regardless of where the exchange or where the price action was taking place on what exchange, it doesn't matter. Here is the average price on this day at close. Boom, here you go. And so this will forever be updated going forward. And so if today all the volume is on Binance and FTX, but 10 years from now it's not, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares because here's the price actions, the average for the day, and we can use it for trend analysis. So one of the first things you might notice is this looks like it's kind of in a curve, you know, both the top and bottom. And you're right. That would be an astute observation. YouTube, you're so smart. One of the first things you'll identify is what's known as a regression curve. Now, what's cool about TradingView is that there's all these custom indicators that users across the world have made. And one of them has actually made a Bitcoin regression curve, the one that has real. Boom. And look, we have a nice little curve fit. Now, this is exactly how I view the market as well. I've hand-drawn mine on my own personal charts, but this is just as good. It'll save you a ton of time. So yeah, I recommend you use it. Now, here's the deal. One of the things I want you to see is that there are bull runs and they tend to hit. There's bull runs and they tend to hit. There's bull runs and they tend to hit the top, and then it missed here recently. We'll get into why and how I was able to identify that we were most likely not going to go on. And hint, it has something to do with Wyckoff and it has to do with something right there. But we'll come back to that for another video. For now, what I want you to focus on is the fact that there's these bull runs and then there's these bear markets. There's these bull runs, there's these bear markets, bull runs, these bear markets, bull runs. And then I guess we're kind of in a bear market now because we're on the other side of we're like behind the bull run. How can somebody, how can anybody, how can your mom, your dad, your grandma, how can they look at this chart and make any sense of what's going on? I think I've cracked the code. And I guess the first thing I'm going to say is that this is controversial. This is not like everyone agrees with me. I'm kind of on my own. There are people who agree with me, but I fight tooth and nail to say that this is extremely important, and a lot of people do not. It is known as the Bitcoin halving. What is the Bitcoin halving? The Bitcoin halving is built into Bitcoin's core code. Okay, cannot be changed without everybody agreeing to it. So that hasn't happened. It's been this way since Bitcoin first kicked off back in 2009. The concept is every 4 years, the number of Bitcoin that's released in the wild, daily, monthly, however you want to think about it, it will be cut in half. So there's a certain number at the beginning of time when Bitcoin first started, there was X amount. Okay. And then after a certain time, X amount comes out every day. And after, on the other side of that date, it's like a hard-coded moment in time. And on the other side of that, now there's half of that. And then same thing on and on. Now, so this, let's call this Y. So now we have Y. Well, then after this certain date, now we have Y divided by 2, on and on and on. So if you think of it like this, you had 1, and then you had half, and then you had a quarter, and then you had an eighth. Like, these are ways to think about it. So if you could line that up, maybe this is a thought that I had early on, maybe that halving has something to do with price going up or down or whatever. Let's just put it on a chart and take a look at it. So what I'm going to do is click this sideways arrow up here by the trend line, and I'm going to use my vertical line tool. Now I've gone ahead and I've looked up the halving dates for you guys, and here they are right here. November 28th, 2012. Okay, close enough. We're on 3-day candles, so that's as good as we're going to get. Let's see what happened right after the halving. That's really interesting. Okay, maybe it's a coincidence. Let's look at the next ones. July 9th of 2016. That's as close as we're going to get. Let's go ahead and throw the other ones in. Okay, so let's look at these really quick. We already identified that there was a nice bull run here. That kind of looks like a bull run too. That looks like a bull run too. I think we're on to something. So this is my personal strategy. The ebb and flow that everyone talks about with Bitcoin, where the boom and bust cycle, the ups and the downs, it has everything to do with the halving. So this is a huge, huge, huge realization for me. This was a massive light bulb moment. So I'm going to actually go ahead and put in, for conversation sake, the next one. This one is slotted for right now. It's on track for about May 5th, 2024. Now, one thing you need to understand is that this is a little bit of a moving target. It has to do with how fast blocks are found. But our blocks, we'll get into that later. Let's not worry about that. Just take my word for it. So this, just know that this date can change. It can be affected ever so slightly. So projected forward, one would make the reasonable conclusion that if right on the heels of the halving is a bull run, then there's a bear market. So we have a bull run followed by a bear market. Now we're kind of on the other side of a bull run that we're going to be seeing a bear market for the next however long. The other thing you need to consider is that there is a point when there is a market low before the halving. The market kind of runs into the halving. There's a little run up period. So it's not like you can just sit comfortably and wait and then just buy at the halving. It's not how it works. So you really need to have your bags packed if you're going to try to get that maximum financial opportunity. You need to have your bags packed well before the actual halving. In this instance, it was about 500 days. It doesn't matter the day. We'll get into that in another video. But the punchline is the lows are not right at the halving. So don't think you can just wait till that day. You actually need to be looking well before that for your long-term entries. Have a little bit of a time window. Here's your time window. These are between halvings. So from today to we have between March 4th and probably over the next 6 months or so, where I would estimate price will find a low against this regression curve that's trending up. If we tend to come down and hit the lows after the bull market, this has been something that's happened multiple times with even retests along the way, lots of retests along the way, then it's completely reasonable to look for price to potentially cascade down sometime between now and the next halving. Or like I was saying earlier, I wouldn't even push it all the way out to the halving for our lows. I think it would happen well before. So sometime in the next year to half a year would be absolutely reasonable. This is the framework by which all my crypto trades take place. There are layers to this that we'll add on as we get into more advanced videos. But for now, this is the most important part. So I think I'll go ahead and end the video there. Hope this was helpful, guys. Be sure to check out our other videos. If you're curious how I set up the colors, anything about TradingView, check out the old videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time, guys. Okay, guys, I think that's going to do it this time. Thank you for your support. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/CryptoJack and also on Twitter at _CryptoJack. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next time.